whether you're looking to start a new business, to stay here, to grow, we are here to help you with every part of the journey. So please do call upon us if there's anything that we can assist you with. We have a wonderful team that is ready to support you and any of the dreams that you are trying to pursue here in San Francisco. So we were inspired to host this webinar today because a lot has happened in the last few years and has caused us to do things differently. And we have here with us today a set of small business owners in San Francisco who have done some pivoting in light of the pandemic and transition to some online platforms and taking their business to a new level. And so I wanted to share some insights from them, allow you to ask them any questions that you have. And so I'm really excited and grateful to have here with us today Harag Kalabshin, the owner of Henry's House of Coffee. We also have Deborah Carvalho, the owner of Pono Boutique, and Mike Zwiefelhofer, owner of Cioccolato, as well as Molly O'Kane, who advises businesses through the Small Business Development Center. So we're going to be talking with them today, as well as allowing for some questions at the end. So with us today, first, I'd like to introduce Harag of Henry's House of Coffee, located in the Sunset neighborhood. So Henry's House of Coffee has been roasting coffee in San Francisco since 1965. It was started by Harag's father, Henry, an immigrant from Lebanon, where his father had a bakery that roasted and served coffee. When Harag was 13, he started helping out at the store on Saturdays. And after first pursuing a career in finance, Harag came back to the family business in 2013 to keep the family tradition alive for another generation, hopefully more to come. Henry's House of Coffee specializes in darker roasts of the Armenian tradition that have a very smooth finish, and their e-commerce features coffee delivery subscriptions. So with that, welcome Harag, and just wanted to give you an opportunity first to maybe do a bit of more of an introduction of yourself, but also share with us what you have been doing with your online sales.
Sure. Thank you, Katie, for that intro. And excuse me, welcome everybody. I know everyone here is a small business owner, so taking time to meet is a big deal for us. So I acknowledge that, and I'm thank you for you guys attending. As Katie mentioned, I grew up in the business. Didn't really have fond memories when I was a kid. My dad, being an old school guy, would drag me to work on Saturdays and have him help fill bags of coffee, which wasn't very fun. And I wanted to watch He-Man, so it wasn't. I didn't grow up thinking that I was going to take over the business. But as Katie mentioned, working in corporate finance gave me the opportunity to dig into numbers when it came to businesses, and I realized how much of a good job my mom and dad had done at Henry's, and that kind of started getting me interested. And as I started peeling back the onion, I was like, man, like, Dad, for not having a formal education, you've done such an amazing job. And I felt that I could take the business to another level and kind of help spread the word throughout not only San Francisco but all over the U.S. So when I joined in 2013, one of my goals was to create a website where we could sell coffee online. In 2013, 2014, I don't know if you guys were doing that, but I was buying a lot of stuff from Amazon and from websites, and I realized like coffee could be that. It's not perishable and it can be shipped. And so we launched the website, and the site was doing well. But when COVID hit, that's when it really like blew up in our face in a good way. Prior to COVID, we were doing about 500 orders a month. And when COVID hit, I would say in April of 2019, we did about 1,500 orders that month. And our space just couldn't handle it. And so we had to maneuver some things around to deal with the influx of online orders. And not only did we have to deal with the online orders, but because we have a cafe, which is this picture right here behind me, we had to deal with the coffee shop being closed down where we couldn't take any customers in. I have 14 employees. The last thing I wanted to do was lay them off. So we made a couple big changes. Number one, we offered pickup only, which you guys have probably dealt with for the last 2 years. So We blocked off the entrance. We moved our cash register literally to the front of the door, made contactless payments so that customers didn't have to take out and touch the PIN pad. And then the point of sale system that we have, which is called Revel Systems, also offered an online version for picking up. So ordering ahead, you may hear ordering ahead or pickup only. So we marketed that and advertised that on Facebook and Instagram and through our email subscribers to let customers know, hey, look, the lines are getting a little bit longer. We understand that. But if you order ahead, you don't necessarily have to wait in line, just come up and pick up. So that seemed to help a little bit as well. And then another big one, which I didn't think was such a big deal, was the parklet. We, because of the COVID protocols, we were able to get a fast track, a parklet, which looking back was amazing because it still allowed people to gather and hang out and drink coffee outside and feel like it was kind of normal during the pandemic when everybody was cooped up. And it's been very well received. So the store actually, while it was down, I would say probably sales were down about 35% year over year. We were still able to pay our employees, keep the shop running, you know, pay all the bills that we needed to do. And we got great support from the community. They were still coming out, still getting their cups of coffee. With the e-commerce side of the business, we pivoted where we would keep 20,000 pounds of coffee. We kept a lot less. We only kept 5,000 so we could have physical space to prepare those online orders and then just get the delivery coming in every week as opposed to once a month. So that opened up space for us to, you know, have a bigger table and pack and get new equipment to seal and all that stuff. So I think we did a good job of pivoting. When I look back in 2019, we actually did a little bit more than what we had done in 2018, which, you know, in a pandemic is an amazing feat. I'm so thankful that we were able to do that and stay around and continue offering delicious coffee to everybody.
Thank you for sharing that, Harag. And
Yeah.
what would you say, if any, were things that you pivoted to and that you still remain today in your business then?
Yeah, good question. I mean, the number one thing is the pickup only or the online ordering. That has been huge. Not only did we add this like pickup only for customers to order ahead, but we also integrated it with DoorDash and Grubhub because we saw a little bit of that pickup as well. Even though it's weird to me that somebody would order a latte and wait 20 minutes to get it. But hey, you know, if you need your Henrys, you need your Henrys. So we still do a good amount of the online order ahead. It's been fantastic. The DoorDash, Grubhub's kind of food delivery service has been fantastic. And our online sales, you know, my biggest worry was that we would see like a massive drop once things opened up, but we haven't, which is fantastic. It just tells me that people have liked the service, they like the speed, the coffee is good. And so that's been an extra income stream that would have taken me probably like 5 years to get to. And now we continue to see that money coming in.
That's so great. And I'm sure that through all of this, you know, you have learned some things on the way. Just wondering what were some of the top lessons learned and anything you would want to share with folks who are actually just starting to think about this and bringing their business to an e-commerce platform.
The biggest thing when it comes to e-commerce is the challenge of, the example I give is if you build a website, it's like having a brand new Ferrari in your garage. You spent all this money on it and you're sitting in it and you can't wait to drive it, but you don't have any gas in the tank. And the analogy there is you have this website, everything works great, but there's nobody coming to your site because you're not doing any type of promotion or advertising. So when you're thinking of building a website, I would say you've got to also think about how much money you want to set aside for advertising for about 6 months to a year to get people to come to the site and purchase. That's one big thing that I think a lot of people miss is they're spending, you know, 30, 40,000 on a website. But if you're not doing any advertising, all that money is really not being spent well because nobody's visiting the web.
Yeah, really good point. Can't just build the website and expect.
Yeah, and so,
Yeah.
you know, if you're coming up with a budget, you almost want to double it because half of it's going to be spent for that promotional piece.
Okay, great. Thanks for sharing that with us. And I know Molly will probably share some other insights with us afterwards as well. So any sort of last thoughts? I mean, just for your session, your piece right here until we get to the Q&A, but any thoughts about sort of the future and what you see ahead in future years, given that you've already made this transition? Any other sort of insights you want to share with the group here?
Yeah, I'm not sure how many folks are from the Sunset District, but the Sunset District for 20, 30 years has always been a bedroom community, and it continues to remain that way. But we've seen a different demographic coming in, a lot younger generation, a lot more pets where you wouldn't see before, right? I think people are moving here because it's a little bit more affordable. And if they don't know who these legacy businesses are, then, you know, that's another opportunity for these legacy businesses to promote the physical store to the local community, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever it is, mailers, working with the Office of Small Business to let them know, like, hey, you know, you're moving here, you want to know the area. We've been here for, you know, 40 plus years, whatever that may be, to have them come in and accept them, because we are the community. You know, we're one of the pillars here, and we survive because of the folks that live around here. So, you know, I think that the Sunset in particular, I can't speak about the other areas, has grown tremendously and it's changed. There's a lot of buildings that are being updated and all that. And so to take advantage of that and let the people know that, hey, we're here, come by.
Great. And I would say that when I, you know, visited Hiragana's space, the two takeaways that I've gotten from him is really, when you think about online sales, you've got to think about the back end and the space you need then to, as you've augmented your orders, to package and to be able to ship out all of those orders. And then secondly, that piece you just said about marketing, accompanying, you know, putting your information on a website. So thank you for that. I know we're going to get to some Q&A after we talk with some of the other panelists. So at this time, then I'm going to bring up Deborah from Pono Boutique. And Pono Boutique is a skincare and waxing boutique in Glen Park. And in addition to providing much needed facials, her boutique serves as a community space and a place for people to chat and connect. And Pono's founder, Deborah, who's here with us today, is a master esthetician and third generation San Francisco native who comes from a long line of Assyrian women entrepreneurs. Pono opened in 2017, just 2 years before the pandemic shut down personal services. And Deborah created Pono in a Box, which captures the essence of Pono Boutique in a virtual Zoom experience. And her service, Pono in a Box, features a full at-home facial kit with a Zoom session. So welcome, Deborah. And just wanted to give you an opportunity to chat a little bit about what it is that you offer at the boutique and what you did during the pandemic to pivot your sales.
For sure. So I am the owner, third generation San Franciscan, like you said, from the Sunset. And I don't know how I haven't been to your coffee shop, so I'm going to make sure I'm there. It was really difficult, right? We don't have a product or personal services that you can like bottle up, right? Because it's literally face-to-face, hands-on services. And personal service cosmetology, we really weren't looked at or told what we can do, what we couldn't do for so long. So one night I just felt like I missed my clients. I missed the community. Everyone would come by, see me watering the plants. And they were like, we need to see you. And I'm like, what about like if we just, I had never done Zoom before, only with my daughter and her school. And I said, what if we just like did like a Zoom party, like a facial party? And I also didn't know how to like bottle up the experience and the energy and the vibe that Pono offers, right, in a treatment. So I'm like, I'm just gonna put all this good juju in a box and I'm gonna send it out and see what happens. And it ended up being an incredible pivot. The first Zoom we ever did had 75 people on it. People are drinking wine, doing facials, mask is, white mask all over everyone's face, hot towels. I mean, it was a blast. So it really had such a positive affirmation to just keep going. And just from that one Zoom, because we have a lot of clients here that are, in the tech world, and it went from one event to worldwide. Salesforce took us to France and Japan. And so these boxes were getting shipped all over, and it was so beautiful. But I tried initially, maybe we can just do like a face wash, but Harag, I had no idea of the demand when you have to ship out every day and someone wants one cleanser, but you had to buy 25 to, so that never worked for me. The initial framing of my e-commerce did not work, but then Pono in a Box worked. And that's pretty much where we were able to sustain and keep our business open and keep community alive and together. So it was really beautiful. Very different, I'm sure, kind of an e-commerce story.
No, that's wonderful, Deborah. Very creative. I have to say, I haven't tried a facial yet through a Zoom experience, but that may be something that we'll do. And your business in particular and all personal services really got hit the hardest because it is such, as you said, an intimate setting. You have to remove your mask in order to get the service. So you truly had to be creative in how you changed what you were doing during that time. And are you still to this day still doing the Pono in a Box? And
we are.
Yeah.
For folks that are still not comfortable being together or coming in, they like we just did one for Twitter and it was amazing. We did a 13-year-old's birthday. So all her friends came together via Zoom. So it's still going, and it's great. So it's a lot of fun, actually. So I've had folks' birthdays, team building, just family wanting to see each other. And it just, it's whatever they want it, the experience to be. We package it up and make it beautiful. And there's sage, there's tea, there's a whole welcome letter with a playlist to get in the mood. So it's like a whole thing. And so it's still going on. So we're just riding the wave.
Yeah, wonderful curation. I love that you even include a playlist. So can you take us through a little bit of how you, started putting the packaging together, bringing it online, promoting it, and any sort of lessons learned throughout that experience?
Well, I think the biggest lesson is marketing. I need to get it together as far as that, not knowing where to reach out for help. So that was challenging, but thank God word of mouth has still been going, and I've had a solid clientele base that have helped support me. So that's like a huge challenge for me. Something I now would love to have is a Pono product, to work with a company that can create our products, the integrity, the way that we see them, because reaching out to a company that already sells their products on their website, that it was so hard to compete. Shipping, getting things in was so difficult. So every time I had a Zoom, I had to wait for production from someone else, and I wanted to be more in control of that. So now that's going to be my next step to growing the business. So Pono in a Box will actually have Pono products in a box, not another skincare line. So that's where we're going next with it.
Great. And I know we're talking about, digitizing a business, but you've also created a lot of community-centered events physically at your store that serves as marketing as well to the local community. And for those who don't know, Pono is right by the Glen Park BART station. So if you're ever in that area, please do stop by. But maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the community-centered events that you've paired along with your business.
Sure. Well, we actually have one tomorrow and Saturday. We've paired up with another mother-owned business, Goose and Kids. They create sensory clothing. So on the side of my on the side of the building, we've revamped that because we needed to step up the game in the neighborhood, and it's beautiful now. So we're having a pop-up. I've gotten the shared space permit to really keep the energy active and feeling really good. So we're doing that tomorrow. We're having mimosas and a kids corner, so folks come out. And I started a secondary business, native plant and juice. So it's plants, florals, and it will be really good vibes. I've worked with women entrepreneurs that make and sell wine, that are community builders. So they would come in and do different events, and we'd have the house full and doing different activities to connect with one another. And so many people did really like build friendships after these events. We've supported other jewelry makers to come into the shop, sell their jewelry while we do mini facials. We've had jazz band. We just like to keep it moving around here and just like high vibes. So,
Yeah, that's great. And so, I mean, all that goes to show it's, again, you can't just sort of put up a website and rest and think people will come, but really building that community around your space, even physically, it will draw more people to the shop. So that's really great. So thank you, Deborah. And again, we'll allow people to ask Deborah some questions later on. But next we'll bring up Mike. So Mike is the owner of Cioccolato, located in North Beach, also known as the Willy Wonka of North Beach. Mike began his career in retail sales when he was just 14 years old, working as a box boy in his grandfather's department store in Humboldt County. And his first business was Lickety Split, a frozen yogurt shop. In 2015, Mike bought Cioccolato when the original owners retired. And Cioccolato's fudge is made in small batches through old-fashioned processes, only 6 pounds at a time. Is that correct?
Right.
Their digital business includes mail orders nationwide. And as I recently learned, he has virtual chocolate making classes. So tell us about that, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Katie. So Cioccolato, we're actually in our 20th year this year. So I am the second owner, but we're celebrating our 20th year. We're right here in North Beach. And before the pandemic, we were basically just a sweets and dessert shop here in North Beach and serving all the tourists, the restaurant goers and everything. And then once the pandemic hit, we did not have to shut down, but there were no customers coming in. And so we started looking at like, well, how are we going to, stay in business basically? And we were also doing in-person chocolate classes before the pandemic. Obviously, we couldn't do those. And so we basically did two major things. We started doing our chocolate classes over Zoom, and we would send, well, we still do, but we send everybody an ingredient kit that has all the ingredients they need, and then we gather on Zoom, and I basically guide them through how to melt their chocolate, how to make their chocolate candies, and that sort of thing. And it turned out to be amazing because we could do way more classes. We could have way more people. I mean, when we did in-person classes, we were limited by size. We could only get about 12 or 15 people at the most into our shop. And so we, last year in 2021, we had over 7,000 participants of our chocolate making class. That means we sent out over 7,000 of these little ingredient kits last year. So we really turned into a little bit of a shipping company, and these classes are still going strong. And I think they still will go strong into the future because we're always going to have remote teams, and that's not going to change. And then our fudge, our gourmet fudge, that's actually what we're most known for because we do make it here, small batch. And we started shipping the fudge all over the country. And the key for us was we really started learning how to do the online advertising. We're talking Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and Google ads. And before that, we just did the organic advertising, meaning posts on Facebook and Instagram. And that's great for building a little community, but for really doing outreach where you're going to get new customers all over the country, all 50 states, that's where these paid ads really, they really work well.
Oh, so yes, I definitely sense this common theme amongst all of our three panelists today. And Mike, so were you not shipping fudge previously prior to the pandemic?
No, we actually
were?
have
Oh.
always shipped, but it was such a little tiny part of our business. It was
Mm.
just like maybe a tourist came in and loved our fudge, and then they would order some later when they got home. So we were only doing maybe literally 2 or 3 or 4 orders per day, like basically nothing, just a couple orders here and there. And now, after, the pivot and learning, now we do anywhere from 50 to 100 orders every day. So just a major change. And really the best part for us is that the business here in North Beach is completely back. I mean, we are back to pre-pandemic numbers, and we're doing these online classes, and we have our shipping. So it's almost like we have 3 companies in one now. We're going to have easily our biggest year ever this year because of that reason.
Wow, wonderful. And did you have to do anything in terms of staffing levels or pivots in terms of what people were working on as a result of this sort of, you're saying 3 companies now in one?
Yeah, definitely. We definitely had to hire. We have the most employees we've ever had. We're up to about 10 employees now, which typically we were like a 3 or 4, maybe 5 employee company before. But I have 2 different chefs in the kitchen and 7 or 8 employees that either are working the store. I'm in my actual shop right now, so either in the shop or they're helping package and send out these kits, send out these orders, that sort of thing. We're actually finishing up our Mother's Day rush right now. Mother's Day is this Sunday, and we still have orders, for those last minute people coming in right now. So that's what we're busy with right now.
Oh, wonderful. And do you have any funny stories about or interesting experiences from your Zoom chocolate making classes? Any burned chocolate, anything that's gone
Yeah.
interestingly?
Yeah. So I'll just tell you what I started figuring out is that most of these are like team building events. So these are coworkers, and the smaller the event, maybe 6 or 8, 10 people, they all leave their cameras on. They all chit chat. But the more people you get, the more shy they get, and they don't want to show off their kitchen. So I've done a class with like 150 people, and almost nobody had their cameras on. They just look around. They're like, I'm not showing off my kitchen to 150 people. So we kind of figured out that the smaller the group, the more friendly everyone is. They keep their cameras on, they chit chat. The bigger the group, the more shy people get. And that I
So you have
found
no
that pretty
idea if they're
funny.
doing it properly. No
Oh,
idea.
no idea. Yeah. Like 150 people were like, who knows who's even participating, what it looks like, that sort of thing.
And so in terms of your physical space, then, as you've done a lot more in terms of shipping the kits, and even just the fudge that you're making, have you had to make any adjustments or changes to your physical space to accommodate that growth on that world?
Yeah, a little bit. Ironically, Katie, our shop is really big. Our total square footage is 2,700, which is really big for a candy shop, basically, or sweet shop. And for the first few years, I actually hated having so much space. I even looked into maybe subletting some of the space out, and nothing really came of it. And now I'm so grateful for having all this space. So we have tons of space in the back where we have the kitchen, we have a whole shipping room and a stock room. So the space is really handy now. What the major change we had to do is that what was our party room where we held our in-person chocolate class is now a shipping room. So we actually are not able to do our in-person classes here in the shop. We are bringing them back though. Katie, we partnered with the wine bar next to us. This is another small pivot, and we're now going to do a chocolate making and wine tasting in-person events at the wine bar next to us called Bellacora. It's here in North Beach. So just another lesson. Keep asking how and keep pivoting. So we're gonna be able to as the online chocolate classes mellow out a little bit, we'll be able to do a little bit of both online and some in-person.
That sounds like the perfect combo. Any other kind of last thoughts of lessons learned or things that you'd want to share with other business owners here?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is to try to keep an open mind and just ask how can I do this? How? Because I actually, my online chocolate classes, I had a networking group and they were encouraging me to move them online. And at first I was like, I just completely dismissed it. I was like, how on earth are we going to do a chocolate class online? I just didn't even know. And it took me a couple, like 2 or 3 months of just thinking about it. And they kept encouraging me, and I started to say, well, okay, what would it look like? How would we do it? And then sure enough, it works amazingly well. So don't try to keep an open mind. Keep asking yourself that question: how do we get there? How do we package? How do we pivot? And you'll come up with it. The answers are there. It's sometimes we have a closed mind because we just haven't done it before.
Oh, great philosophy on life for sure, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing that with us. So next I'm going to bring up Molly O'Kane, and Molly is setting a new standard for bringing creative ideas to life, building consistent brands, and turning entrepreneurial dreams into reality. Her commitment to understanding the challenges of small businesses and keeping up with consumer trends in a fast-paced, internet-driven world is changing the way small business brands approach marketing. And so as a marketing and business development consultant in San Francisco, Santa Cruz, Solano, and Napa Small Business Development Center for nearly a decade, Molly specializes in simplifying digital marketing, search engine optimization, and social media to grow businesses with limited time and money. Molly also serves as a freelance consultant and small business coach. So really glad we could have Molly here today. Thank you. And I know we've heard some already great stories from these 3 small businesses in the short amount of time. And just wanted to give you an opportunity to share with us from your perspective as a consultant and business coach, kind of what you're seeing, what you think the top things businesses should think about when investing in e-commerce.
Sure. And great insights from business owners, which is great. Then I don't have to talk about those things, right? But it's so true. You have to do marketing. People aren't just going to come to you. You need to go to them, right? So I think one of the biggest trends we're going to see in the future is just the whole privacy. So the pivot on all the big companies, Facebook, Instagram, Apple, Google, they're putting a lot more emphasis on privacy and changing the rules in regards to online marketing. So that's going to be a key thing we need to watch moving forward, as well as, a lot of companies are trying to take over a little bit more space. Like the email providers are now allowing you to build landing pages, right? But because of the way you build them there, who owns the data? Right? Do you have access to the customer data, or really are they the owners of the data? And I think that, while the tech will get easier and that's important, we also need to watch out for platforms pivoting. Even Amazon, Etsy, right? And Square, they're not necessarily always giving you access to those email addresses anymore. They're going to be moving to more of a pay to play. I think in the future, if I had to guess, where you're going to have to pay to send emails out to your own customers. So again, while it makes it easy, and that's important because we don't want to deal with the tech as small business owners, we just need to be aware of that moving forward, that we either need to budget for that and know that that's no longer our business asset. That is now going to be owned by the platform itself. And that may be okay, right? If you're doing a ton of business and you're really not tech savvy, that may be a way for you to still move your business forward. But when you go to sell your business, you have one less asset to sell with.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I think that that's one of the main things we'll see moving forward. So some of the top things for businesses that they should be thinking, I'm like looking at your questions, sorry. Some of the top things that you should think about before building a website or investing in e-commerce is what the business owners here said, which is, how are you going to get their attention of your potential customer or even your customers, and how are you going to build trust? So I think even before you think about building your own site, some of those things need to be played with in social media and trying to get people to sign up for things. And you can do a lot of things manually, actually. via email and social media without having to build something out. And it allows you to test the messages and the value statements and really see what's resonating with that consumer before we spend a lot of time and effort and money with a web developer. Because ultimately, your customers better than anyone else, right? They can help you with the tech, but they're not going to be able to help you with the messaging necessarily all the time, because it's all testing. Even the best marketers in the world, and even the marketers that have companies that all they do is run ads and get you leads, they're constantly testing. And what works for one may or may not work for you. So I think that's a big, big thing. And again, thinking of ways to be able to talk to your customer in the most cost-effective way, right? So we all know, I don't know about you, like very rarely do people make a purchase on the first time they see you. So the only time that happens is when things are super trending. Like if you think back, I think it was like, I don't know, 6 or 8 years ago now, those fidget spinners came up, right? Like you can get away with like showing something and they'll make a purchase right away, right? Because everyone wanted them. They were super trending. They were hard to get. So it didn't really matter what company was selling it. If you had it add up, you're going to get people buying. But if you don't have products like that, which most people don't, you really need, 7 to 9 touches with a person before they're comfortable with buying from you. So really like thinking about it more as a relationship versus a just one ad and one sale, right? Or one effort and one sale. It's really trying to build something long-term and getting a customer for life. And again, focusing on building assets, I think is super key. And then I'm going to share, I have a little like diagram sort of on this about, when we think about what we're posting on social media or even emails, it goes for anything, direct mail, emails, anything you're trying to get attention to. I'll put a link to Canva, and then I'm going to share my screen so I could go through this really quickly. And if I'm talking too much, please let me know because I can shorten it. I will speed it up or just put things in chat. So I'm going to share this diagram I made in Canva. So if you think of this, whenever you're doing any kind of outreach, this is going to gain you success. So making sure you have these parts, and I call it the FAVE method, which is the focus and action. I'm going to pick one thing to focus on, and I'm going to take action and try it. And then the parts to that are, we need to make sure it's grabbing their attention. We're going to where they're at, right? Where they're already hanging out. And when you think about that, you can even think about all the social media platforms. They don't just rely on social media. They send you emails, right? LinkedIn, Facebook, they all send you emails. Pinterest. The reason is because they're going where I'm already at. It just works. Even though people say it's old school, no, it still works, right? And then whatever we send has to have value to the person that we're sending it to. So it needs to be solving their problem or getting their attention versus my product, right? And then we need to, why do people share, or why do people engage with you? It's because they're looking for enjoyment and education. So if we can add those parts into what we send out to them, no one's ever going to think you're spamming them, because you've provided them value, you've solved their problem, you've got their attention, you're helping them feel better in some aspect. So as long as we think about that, that is how we're going to get the attention and build these long-term customers. And then, of course, if you feel stuck, there's always one-on-one advising from the Small Business Development Center. They'll pair you, you'll fill out a form and do an intake call, and they'll pair you with the best advisor. So it may be a marketing person, it may be a financial person. They have a lot of really good advisors out there. Maybe you need a loan. They have advisors that specialize in that as well. So, that is a good place. And then the last thing I'm going to share is just if if you don't know where to go or what to build on, so if you don't have an e-commerce platform, and I'll put the links in the chat as well, but I have a blog post that you can access that I've actually reviewed a lot of the platforms, who's it's good for, who it's not, the pros and cons. And this could help you decide on where to get started if you haven't already. So again, you can cheat. So if you know you only want to look at one platform, like let's say you're interested in Shopify, if you click on this, it will just take you down to the Shopify section, and it will really talk to you about the pros and cons on the platform, so you can make the best decision for you. So let me back up, and I will put all these links in the chat. And then also, I have 2 other links I'm going to put in. I'm not going to share the screen, but I'll just put them up. When is it time to hire, right? To get help doing these things, because all the online space, there's a huge tech learning curve, and sometimes the opportunity cost is such that if it's going to take you 6 months to put up a website, it may be better to pay someone to do it so you can get it up within 2 months, right? Because you're losing that momentum and sales that you could have got because you're trying to learn. Or it may not be working right for you because it's not a good user experience on the back end. And then I also have one other link I'll add, and I don't know if this reflects you or not, but I also have a blog post on just overcoming fear to grow your business, because sometimes it's our personal self that's actually stopping us. It's not these tactics or things. It's our fear. Something is holding us back and not allowing us to put the full effort into trying it. So, okay, so that is all for me. And while I think if you want to take questions, I will put in the chat these links as well. So you can just grab them if this sounds like you.
Great. Thank you so much, Molly, for these really wonderful resources. And as she pointed out, the free one-on-one advising under the Small Business Development Center here in San Francisco, at least that team of advisors, they're actually under our San Francisco Office of Small Business. And so if you want to be paired up with someone for free counseling, please do feel free to reach out to our office and we can connect you with someone. So I think there was so much great information shared today, but of course, I know we're just skimming the surface here. I want to open it up for some questions from the group who is here today. I'm sure that you're probably dying to ask any one of our panelists or even Molly some additional follow-up questions. So please feel free to put them in the chat. I'll look out for them. Or if you want to raise your hand as well, we can call on you. All right. Any questions from folks? Geez, I'm just bringing up the chat function now to see if there's anything here. Okay, I know that some folks had submitted some questions also when they were registering. And someone wanted to know about kind of resources and opportunities to help support businesses move into digitization. And we do recognize that this is definitely a growing area of needed support. And so through our office, through the Small Business Development Center, you can get paired up with an advisor to help you through marketing and any advisement on that front. So again, definitely call our office. And I know Michelle just put a link into the chat if you're curious about that service.
Katie, I have a question for Mike.
Oh, yes, please. I love this.
Well,
we'll have panelists ask questions to each other.
Well, I love all the shares. I mean, this is so inspiring. And Molly, thank you. You said you did paid ads. You started with the little ads and it built community. But can you share again what that was that you did? Because I've never done anything like that.
Yeah, so I had never either. Before the pandemic, I didn't know anything about paid Facebook ads or Google ads or any of that. We didn't do any of that. And then I have a friend who owns a cookie dough company called Dope. I started here in San Francisco. You guys may remember Dope, but I just heard through mutual friends that they were doing tons. of sales online. So I reached out to her and she turned me on to the marketing company that she hired. And it's a really cool company. It's called 4080 Marketing. But what they do is that they don't actually do any of the marketing for you. They teach you. So they're coaches.
Oh, wow.
That's their business model. So it wasn't cheap. It cost me about $20,000 over about 6 months, but I looked at it as like taking a business class basically. And, I used some of that pandemic relief money to do it. And it paid itself off in, tenfold, because now I do all the marketing. I know how to do ads, which I had no clue before. So, I mean, Facebook ads are not simple. And I definitely recommend getting training or getting help, or, you can hire a company, whatever suits you best, but it's not easy. It's not as simple as just posting. Like, there's a whole different world out there from the organic posts to actual paid advertising. So I definitely recommend getting help with that or training.
And I'd
Okay.
like to add one more thing, if I may. Mike, that's fantastic, by the way. We do a ton as well, and I completely echo what Mike said.
Okay.
One thing, Deborah, to think about when you're doing these ads is how much are you willing to pay to get a new customer? Because what you're going to find is you're going to spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, and the question you want to ask is it working? And
Right.
so the way that I think about it is take a step back and ask yourself, if I could get a new customer, if there was a line of customers outside my shop and I literally gave them $20 and they were to come in and do the beautiful facial stuff that you do, is that too much or is that too little? What if I gave them $30? Could I still make money on it? And take into account your shipping if you're going to do shipping stuff, right? Take all that into account, but think about it in that sense of how much is it going to cost me? Because then what you can do is, and I'm sure Mike does this, when you're doing your Facebook advertising for a complete month, you take what you spent, let's say you spent $5,000, and Facebook will tell you of that $5,000, how many new sales or acquisitions or whatever the term is that you got, right? So if you spent $5,000 and you got 100 new customers, that means you spent $50 to get a new customer.
Gotcha.
And if that's cool, that's great. But you got to know that number. Otherwise, you really don't know. Like, is it working? Is it not working? Do I
Right.
keep doing it?
Perfect. Thank you both so much.
Those are great. I love that. Again, we're asking each other questions, and
Mhm.
please keep those coming. I don't see any other questions in the chat at this time. So just wanted to give you an opportunity to either ask each other questions or to share any sort of last thoughts with anyone who's out there thinking about bringing their business online and expanding their model.
And Katie, if I may, if anybody on the call here wants to contact me, I don't want to speak for Deborah and Mike, but if you guys want to contact me and ask me questions on my experience of, what website I'm going with, all that kind of stuff, I'm happy to help. I mean, we're all on the same team here. And
Yeah.
I think the more we help each other, we help the community, we help our business and all that stuff. So I'm happy to help. I'm not sure how they'll get my contact information if it's around anywhere, but I'm here. Or you can just go to my website and send me an email through there.
Are you in the shop often? I'm definitely going to come check you out and pick your brain.
Yeah, please do that. Yes, I'm here Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Perfect. This has been such a beautiful connection. William Wood is asking you, I think he's asked this twice. Are you a C Corp?
Let's see.
Oh, no, I'm an S Corp. William, sorry.
Okay, great.
9 to 2.
All right, so I don't see any other questions here, but we'll share out a link to this recording. We're going to put it on our Office of Small Business YouTube page so that people who couldn't attend live can review this video later and get some really great tips from all of you. And at this time, again, I just really want to thank these wonderful panelists, small business owners here in San Francisco, and Molly from the Small Business Development Center for offering your time, your pearls of wisdom with everyone, all that you did to be creative during this really challenging time for all during this pandemic. So thank you. And again, want to thank Michelle from our office for organizing this event. We're going to put up a slide here to share with you our office's contact information so that if you have any other follow-up, please do not hesitate to reach out to us via phone, email, or you could check out our website as well. We're at City Hall and at our city's new permit center over at 49 South Van Ness. So thank you all for participating.
Thanks, everyone.